What's up, you guys? This is Adam Gillespie with Rancid and Sweaty Cabs coming at you with yet another video. And San Diego Comic-Con is the gift that keeps on giving, apparently, because it just seems like there's an enormous amount of videos that I can't seem to get all out and all covered at once. I'm currently on I'm exasperated as to how much content I have to cover now, and it really is a great thing because now I have a lot of stuff to talk about and a lot of things to rant about, as Rancid and Sweaty Calves implies. That being said, what a surprise that Phase 4 is a complete and utter disaster, so much so that Kevin Feige, regardless of his desire to ignore it, had to kill it live on stage at Comic-Con and announce Phase 5 and Phase 6. Pretty ridiculous. The Marvel Cinematic Universe's Phase 4 was an utter disaster, and there's a reason Kevin Feige killed it at San Diego Comic-Con. Now, this was published yesterday, Monday, July 25th. Phase 4 of the MCU is in the book, and there's only one thing left to say. On Saturday afternoon, oh yeah, the gif there. What the heck was that? On Saturday afternoon, Kevin Feige returned to San Diego Comic-Cons to announce that Phase 4, the longest-running cinematic soap opera and theme park ride in history movies, is over. And then he proceeded to hype up Phase 5 and Phase 6 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe before we even started talking about movies on Disney Plus shows that you won't see for another 3 years. Let's focus on the era that just concluded. So here we got some stuff that's going to come out in Phase 5 and Phase 6, and I can't wait for them to absolutely destroy Daredevil, because that's exactly what Marvel's going to do. Phase 4 of the MCU was pound for pound the worst phase of the over-bloated universe. That's not just an opinion. According to the box office receipts, I don't think too many people are excited about the future of the MCU after seeing what they have done post-Avengers Endgame. Now, this is obviously an opinion piece because that guy just used a first-person view. So here we go. Phase 4's failures are blamed on the COVID outbreak and shutting down movie theaters across the country. This is a convenient excuse to look past the terrible creative decisions that have been made over the past few years in Marvel Comics and studios. A deeper dive into this area exposes why not only did Phase 4 never stand a chance of being a success, but why it's a failure that was already doomed at the projects set in the future. We will not be including any of the Disney Plus shows, as I refuse to accept the notion that you have to watch Disney Plus in order to figure out what the heck is going on in this universe. So this guy's using some pretty strong language. I love it. I can't wait to read the rest of this. We kicked off Phase 4 with a movie that's at least 8 years too late that ended with a lawsuit because Kevin Feige is a complete genius. Phase 4 began with a solo film for a character who was killed off 2 movies ago. Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow was the first sign that Disney and Marvel had no creative direction post-Endgame, and what was a one-off film, Scarlett Johansson gets upstaged in her own movie by her co-star Florence Pugh, which has turned out to be a complete headache for Disney. Not only did they get a return for their $200 million production investment into this film, not only did they not get a return on that, but their decision to pull the movie from theaters and put it on Disney Plus cost even more money, as their star Scarlett Johansson sued the company for breach of contract. It was later settled in court. A film that profited nothing and cost everything was the worst possible start for Phase 4 and didn't get better from here. And now we have Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Wasn't a complete disaster, but it also wasn't a complete success. The film's signal that Phase 4 was going down the road of representation as a form of marketing. When the first Asian superhero in the MCU was a big part of the draw, the film was thought to be home run in the Chinese market, but the star of the movie, Simu Liu, had some comments about the upset Chinese Communist Party, which crippled the film's chances in the market. Story-wise, there was no stakes in this film that affected the overall narrative of the MCU. Audiences began to realize that they didn't have to watch all the MCU movies because there was no story connecting them. And worse than that, it was just a really terrible film, and it grossed like, what, $400 million total? It maybe made Marvel $25 million. Now we have the Eternals. The next Phase 4 movie is the worst in the history of the MCU. Several years ago, Marvel struck lightning in a bottle with the Guardians of the Galaxy, a group of lesser-known comic book characters that became loved by the audience. Marvel tried the formula again with the release of the Eternals. This time they added a bit of diversity and inclusion in order to bring audiences in, and the film flopped. Despite bringing in $400 million, it didn't even come close to hitting its break-even mark, making it a rare flop for the franchise. It lost like over $100 million, I believe. The movie has also provided that proved that Disney's relationship with China has soured, and the country rejected diversity and inclusion initiatives that the LGBTQ characters in the films. Marvel Studios looked at 2021 as a failure due to COVID restrictions, but the quality of their films wasn't getting any better. Spider-Man: No Way Home, in my opinion, the only bright spot, but even then it was a Sony product. What's better than one Spider-Man? 3 Spider-Mans in one movie. Whether it was nostalgia or member berries, one can't deny the success that Spider-Man: No Way Home has, as it grossed almost $2 billion in the box office. The film was by far the most successful film in the Phase 4 era. There was only one problem: this film under the Sony umbrella and not Marvel Studios. Marvel Studios only got about 25% of the profits versus the 75% that went to Sony, meaning that their most successful venture post-Endgame was a co-production with another studio. Not to mention the film's success took a sledgehammer to the narrative that COVID was the reason that previous 3 films flopping at the box office. The only real good news for Marvel Studios is at least they didn't do Morbius. That's true. Now we have Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I love this guy is able to sum it up really, really simply. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was a mess of a film before it made its way into theaters. Writer C. Robert Cargyle, the director Scott Derrickson, wanted to go in a different creative direction with this film. The duo wanted to create MCU's first true horror movie, using the characters of Wanda Maximoff and Doctor Strange as a selling point. They were told no by Disney and left the film to create the hit movie The Black Phone. Instead, Marvel brought in Sam Raimi and the guy who wrote the 4 episodes of Rick and Morty to save this picture. Narrative-wise, this film may have done more harm than good by introducing the multiverse, which will be used as a plot device for the MCU films. For future MCU films. Box office-wise, the film was a success, but it was a big drop-off from what Spider-Man did just months earlier. And the word of mouth about the movie itself wasn't very good, causing a steep drop-off at the box office. Everyone thought that the MCU was back after the success of the last 2 movies. However, they were ignoring one massive problem, a problem that was exposed in its next movie. And I'll say this, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness really should have made $1 billion with the fact that he was in Spider-Man: No Way Home as actually one of the center characters, one of the more important characters. So, let's be honest, the fact that it's not crossed $1 billion in its 45-day window is a pretty big tell that people really didn't care about that film. Now we have Thor: Love and Thunder. Anyone who tells you that Marvel Studios was not expecting anything less than $1 billion from one of the founding fathers of the MCU's Avengers team in a movie they put $250 million of production budget into is denial. Thor: Love and Thunder was a terrible movie, and despite the fact that it made over $600 million at the box office, as of this writing, the film is still on pace to lose money given the massive production and marketing costs attached to it. Much like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Thor: Love and Thunder had a massive drop-off at the box office due to bad word of mouth. Story-wise, the film doesn't connect with any of the previous films before it, with no guarantee that Chris Hemsworth is going to come back for Thor 5 in the future. There's also no setup here to get you excited for what's next. Exactly. Thor: Love and Thunder was a complete mockery of the character of Thor. They literally just made him a joke for no reason, and they sucked it up. The first Black Panther movie was a smash hit with African American audiences, striking lightning in a bottle with the production of the first black superhero movie in the MCU. However, Chadwick Boseman passed away, sadly, I will admit, because I really thought that he was a great acting talent, and I wish that he would have gotten to do more projects. This is my own personal opinion. You know, I thought that he was a great actor. I think his best role was probably 42, and apart from that, maybe 21 Bridges. But he, sadly he died of colon cancer, and that truly is a sad thing. And Marvel just probably used it. Marvel just used it for marketing. Marvel just used his death for marketing. That's despicable. Chadwick Boseman passed away after a secret battle with cancer. Instead of recasting the role or foregoing a sequel altogether, Marvel Studios decided to make a Black Panther film without Black Panther. A film that's only going to focus on the female Wakanda soldiers as they take on a race led by a reimagined Namor. Will Marvel find the same success they had 4 years ago? It's too early to answer that question right now, but the way things are going with the MCU, optimism may be a luxury. Now, this guy, whoever wrote this article, has it pretty much on spot. Marvel decided that their main selling point was going to be diversity and inclusion. Look at the women who like other women. Look at the men who like other men. Look at the this or that. Look at this diverse character. Look at Look at how much diversity we can fit into a movie that doesn't need diversity. Look at how badly we can butcher characters that were once really, really good, like Thor. Look at how much we can butcher characters that were once really, really good, like Doctor Strange. Look at how much we can take a character like Wanda Maximoff and turn her into an absolute evil woman that no one likes and no one respects her decision making because she is completely delusional. Look at how much we can ruin everything that we've built up in only a couple of years. That's exactly what happened, and it's frightening to see that people are still interested in this, even in some small level. I mean, these movies have gotten nothing but worse, you know, and I'm not betting that they're going to be better. Black Panther, when it first came out, wasn't a good movie. It was a pretty terrible movie. The writing was awful. The identity politics were all over the place, and well, maybe not identity politics, but the idea that America was evil, or that all white people needed to be killed, according to Killmonger, because black people sold the other black people into slavery. You know, it's ridiculous. It really is. That whole movie was really poorly written, and the politics and the agenda were on full display. And I don't imagine it's going to get any better with Wakanda Forever. I don't imagine that any of the movies going forward in regards to Marvel are going to get better at all. I think they're going to completely ruin the franchise beyond what they already have done. And it's on full display. We all see it. It's all happening right in front of our eyes. And this guy right here is able to really, really concisely, really easily describe what it is that the problem with Marvel's Phase 4 movies has been. It's been going through the all new, all different Marvel that nobody liked and focusing, oh, look at all the diversity, look at all the inclusion, look at how many people we can change the sexuality of because this or that, blah, 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 blah. No reason for that to be in this film. If you want to create characters or you want to adapt characters who are gay from the stories in the comics, then great. But don't focus exclusively on their gaydom so that you can make them seem more interesting. Focus on maybe writing an interesting story and putting them through challenges that don't relate to what kind of genitalia they prefer. Okay? That's a simple way of fixing all the problems that Marvel has. But they're not going to take it because it's Marvel and they're idiots. Just about as stupid as Warner Bros. Is for not making a Superman movie starring Henry Cavill. They really, really, really hate that Henry Cavill is the beloved version of Superman in terms of the movies because he's a white guy. I'll cover that in a separate video. Just keep that in mind. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment down below your thoughts. Let me know what it is that you think about Marvel's Phase 4 and what you think is going to happen in the upcoming phases of Marvel. Let me know if you want them to go bankrupt as much as I want them to go bankrupt, including Disney. And hit that subscribe button and click that bell notification icon so you'll be alerted to every single video I upload. You can also follow me over on Rumble and Patreon. I leave links to those in the description below. And if you share this with your friends, that'd be a huge help because YouTube does suppress people they don't like, and I express views that YouTube doesn't find very appropriate. So I would like it if you guys would do that. I appreciate it. Nonetheless, I love the fact that we've reached over 100 subscribers. I think we're still at 120, or we've just reached 120. I haven't checked in a while, but I appreciate all the support. I love you guys. I hope you have a great day and a great rest of the week.